Michael D'Alluro said, to become an ultramarathon runner, you must have the courage to explore the vast depths of the impossible until you find a possibility. Running an ultramarathon is hard. There will be highs, there will be lows, and there will be a lot of variables to account for. There is definitely going to be a lot of planning, and most certainly a lot of training. Your first race day will be filled with stress and excitement while your body's adjusting to all this new feedback, the pain and the fatigue. And what you don't want to deal with is making mistakes that are avoidable. Hello everyone, my name is John and this is Motivation Theory. And in this video, we're going to be discussing 3 critical mistakes new ultra runners make. And this is part 2. Please make sure to click on that red subscribe button and the bell so you get notifications each and every time I release new content. Look, ultra runners are finding personal limits and pushing the boundaries of the human body for 12, 24, 36, and even 60 plus hours straight. And during those hours, there is a lot to deal with. So making sure you're making the least amount of mistakes will help you towards a successful finish. So the first critical mistake of a new ultramarathon runner is not eating enough in the early miles. I have done this in my first race, so I know from experience. And all the excitement of your first race, believe me, there's going to be a lot of excitement, there's going to be a lot of nerves. It's easy to forget that well thought out nutritional strategy that you have been training for and planning for a very long time. But as we all know, consistent fueling is key. So I'd suggest either setting an alarm on your watch to beep at a certain interval that you know will work for you, or you can write it on a piece of paper and put it in a plastic bag, laminate it, just put it somewhere where you can kind of look at it. Because again, when things go sideways, you need to keep doing the things you've planned for. I know it's going to be hard. It happened to me when my stomach didn't feel good and I didn't want to eat and I kept getting myself deeper and deeper into that hole. You want to try to stick to your plan in that sense. You want to make sure that you're eating and figuring out what you need to do with your nutrition, because if you don't, you can get dug into a deep hole and it's going to take a long time to dig out of that. So you can laminate that, put it in a bag, get the wristband made, that people have for pacing. You can get one of those too that kind of help you and remind you to stick with your nutrition plan. A huge part of running an ultramarathon is listening to your body. So if you're struggling, you may need more water. You may need less water. You may need sodium and electrolytes. You may need food or more food or just the right food that will make your body feel better. I know in races when I'm eating gels and a lot of things with sugar in it, I start to feel sick. I have to have real food. Sometimes a piece of pizza is all I need, or a handful of chips. Just experiment, get through things, know that things are going to happen to you and just get through them. Number 2, you get way too focused on the plan that you had set out or the outcome that you want. We all headed into uncharted territory in our first ultra. You're going to go through many, many peaks and valleys. You need to understand that there are going to be bad times out there, particularly in the latter miles, but you don't want to get disheartened when your watch is not showing you what you want to see. And it's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to start to stress about cutoffs. You're going to start to see your time slipping. You cannot beat yourself up when your plan goes out the window. Remember why you're out there. And the first ultra is always the finish. It's not a time. Now, I say that very cautiously because sometimes it is a time you want to keep those cutoffs going, but you don't want to beat yourself up if the times that you're hitting are not exactly what you wanted to hit. Again, you have so much going on out there and stressing about all the little things that you really can control. You don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to add that added stress to yourself while you're out there running an ultra. Set your expectations at a couple different levels. So when you go out there, you could say this is going to be the best case scenario, kind of a middle case scenario, and then kind of the wheels fell off scenario. And understand that any of those can happen to you, but don't completely lose your mind out there because that stress will build. I've been there many times. At JFK, for some reason, when I get on the C&O Canal, I start to lose my mind. When I get to mile 38, I'm convinced I'm not going to make any more cutoffs. And I'm nowhere near, but some reason I start to really get caught up in the times and trying to do the math of when I'm going to finish, when I'm 12, 15, 20 miles out. Don't do that to yourself because it makes it very hard to deal with that mental battle that you're just putting on yourself for no reason. Remember, plans are just that. They're just plans. So don't beat yourself up in a race just because you're not hitting the times that you want to hit. Number 3, not lifting your feet when you're out on the trails. Many trails here in Virginia have some part of them on the Appalachian Trail. It's very rocky, it's very steep, there's a lot of climbing, switchbacks, roots, rocks, everything sticking up out of the trail for no good reason. I've literally seen rocks sticking up 6 inches, like somebody planted it there. It's like, they're being sadistic out there. I don't know who's keeping these trails, but it can be scary. And you can see a lot of this stuff in my running videos. You can see that lifting your feet is very important. Now, My wipeout had to do with slipping on rocks. You also need to watch out for that. But I'm talking specifically right now about lifting your feet and not tripping. Because if you don't do so, it can be very, very dangerous. Not only ruin your day and your race, but it could probably ruin you for several months as you recover. I know it sounds simplistic, but remember to pick your feet up and just think about it in a race, because you've planned for a long time. You have people probably out there crewing you. You've paid a lot of money, and you do not want to be taken out of the race because you just didn't keep your feet up and down, up and down, up and down, watching out for those rocks and roots. Look, we are all an experiment of one. So experiment and find out what works for you as a runner, and understand that there are two constants you will need in ultra running. The first is mental toughness, and the second is the ability to problem solve. I promise you, you will need both of those every single time you run an ultramarathon. So to continue on in this playlist, go ahead and click one of the playlists around me. If you want to know why anyone can run an ultramarathon, go ahead and click that video. And I'm going to go ahead and direct you back to the first video in this series if you missed it. That'll be around me here somewhere. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you click that thumbs up and remember to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.